At 7:02, and I have to apologize to everybody, but at the last moment, we found out that we do not have a quorum this evening. And we have only heard, if Mr. French shows up, we still won't have a quorum, and we know none of the other board members can be here. One was out of state, planned to be out of state, and we knew he was not going to be here. Another one was supposed to be back in town yesterday, but the blizzard kept him from flying back into town in time, and two others canceled at the last minute because of another school-related event this evening. So I am very sorry to everybody. We will not be able to take action on anything that requires a vote tonight, but we will proceed with my fellow board members' cooperation and the superintendent's cooperation. We will proceed with the reports and anything that we can possibly do short of voting on something. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we will skip over the approval of the minutes, and the first order of business is public comment. Is there anybody who has signed up to speak during public comment?
One person.
Did you sign up?
I did.
Okay, come on up. If you wouldn't mind identifying yourself so the people watching on cable know who you are and we know who you are. Thank you.
I'm Nicole Bay. I'm the STEM coach over at Charles H. Barrows STEM Academy. I'm also a resident of Windham, and my daughter goes to North Windham School and is in the Compañeros program. I'm here tonight, though, to tell you about some good news that has happened over at Barrows recently. We had our Invention Convention, and our kindergarten through 8th grade students all, we don't really call it competed, we call it presented their inventions to some guests who were from the community, the different universities, and the Connecticut Invention Convention, as well as some of our staff members and staff members' friends and family. We have 76 students who are moving on to our regional convention, and that will be judged by members of the Connecticut Invention Convention judging panel, and that is happening on March 24th from 1 to 4 in East Hartford as part of our regional convention. From there, some students may be selected to go to our state convention, which is held at Gamble Pavilion at UConn. And if we have the same kind of wonderful inventors that we've had before, there's a good chance we could have representation at the national convention as well, which I think is being held in Michigan this year. But just wanted to spread the good news about what our great inventors are doing at Barrows. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great news.
It's nice to get news like that.
And I would like to add that last year we had represented at the state convention, right, Mrs. Bay?
Yes.
Did we have two that went to the national convention in DC?
We had one last year.
One at the national
And then
convention.
We had one 2 years previous.
Yeah, so we had represented the national convention, and definitely we have a large number of students that went to the state convention last year.
That's wonderful. So seeing no other public signed up to comment, I will move on to the reports, and we'll start with whatever you want to share with us.
Okay, so thank you, Madam Chair. So we have recognitions, and we want to leave those recognitions. We have lots of good recognitions, but because of the conflict of schedule today, we're going to leave those recognitions for the next board meeting, the next business meeting in April, because they are not here present today, like members of the wrestling team and Bill Stowers and others. We also want to leave the School of Distinction, Windham Center, for the business meeting in April. However, I would like to start by recognizing board members. March is Board Member Appreciation Month, and I will take this opportunity to thank all the board members that are here and the ones that are not here for really, on behalf of the entire Windham Public School, for their commitment and their effort and for being in this position. We know that this is not a position that comes with monetary gratification, but we thank you for doing the best for the children of Windham Public School, so we appreciate it. And all we could offer today was some special cupcake and the very special to the board members that are here. And then the others, I guess we go back into the refrigerator. But we want to really want to thank you. Thank you for being here with us and for this journey and for really helping us move the district forward to the next level. So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, I will continue with the high school team that is here, Mrs. Sosa, the interim principal, Mrs. Cavanaugh, assistant principal, Mr. Rondo. And as you know, we had the retreat and we were able to present some of the data, but Mrs. Sosa and her team is here to share with you the PSAT practice data. And then we'll have some questions. We'll just give you some feedback about that.
All right. Good evening. Buenas tardes.
Does she need to use a mic for you? Unfortunately, because if you're on TV, they can't hear you if you're
Okay.
just talking that way. Sorry.
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
No.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well,
No.
No.
Turn it on.
Good evening. Buenas noches.
is it on?
No.
No, I don't think it's on.
It's not on.
There it is.
Good evening. Okay, my name is Vanessa Sosa. I'm here with my team to present the PSAT, SAT results. Our vision for the PSAT, SAT is to ensure that all students and staff understand the importance of the SAT. We benchmark the students 3 times a year, giving them one official SAT practice, which we did in February. Ensure that all students, once they take it, have a one-on-one conference with teachers to address their strengths and weaknesses and next steps. Ensure daily instruction that is aligned to the SAT, and ensure professional learning for our teachers and their growth in terms of what they need and what the students need. We're going to be seeing some data, and it's divided into 2, matched and unmatched. What does that mean? Matched cohort is students that took 2 tests, the one in the winter, one in the fall. The unmatched cohort is students that only took 1 test, that for some reason they came in either later in the year, took only 1 test, or are no longer with us, or for whatever reason they only took 1 test. This is the breakdown of what we did in the fall 2017. We administered to grade 9 the PSAT 8-9, and for grades 10 and 11 the PSAT 10-11. Now in the winter time we administered an SAT practice test, and I would like to say also that this test is more rigorous than the PSAT and it's longer than the PSAT. Both assessments are linked by scale scores, which means that the number of correct answers that the students have, they are converted, they are aligned in a standard scale or score. We're going now to the grade 9 cohort in reading, the unmatched. Remember, unmatched is students that only took 1 test. You can see by yourself that there was growth. The matched cohort in reading, and you have it in your presentation. In math, grade 9, the unmatched cohort. And the matched, yes.
Could you please kind of clarify for me, maybe, what scale score? What is this 348 under scale score?
The scale score is what the students, it's the score, can you pass that on? It's the score that the students took, and the scale score is, it's the amount of
Points, yeah.
correct answers.
Answers.
I'm trying not to get
That's
confused
okay.
here.
Yeah, the answers.
Okay, that's the definition.
So the top scale score is 500. Okay, that is like, the average is 500. So the scale score goes, I guess, from 100 to 500.
So the scale score that's on the chart there, 348, for example, is
Right.
the number of answers correct on average that they got?
The score.
Between
that they got,
the score.
The score.
Out of 500?
The
Out of 500.
average score out of
Yeah.
500.
Out of 500.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't address that. So that was in the fall and then in the winter.
So it went up 20 points,
Yeah,
you're
when I
saying?
was- Yeah, it was growth. All right? The reading for the ninth grade, the matched cohort students that took both tests, this is the score.
I'm sorry, what does N mean?
The
Number
The
of
number of
students.
students that
Number
took
of
the test.
students, okay.
that took the test.
Okay. And then you have the summary of,
Okay, I have
uh-huh,
another, sorry, so sorry. No, we have here, under the, the definition, how can PSAT, we're talking about PSAT, right?
Yes, yes.
So what is the NMSQT? I forgot.
could you repeat again the question, I didn't hear you?
NMSQT scores. PSAT
Oh, you're in
slash,
the,
It's,
That's what it says on the fact sheet that you gave us.
it's the same test.
that is a test that is given in another part of the country.
Country, it's the same test. It does
Same test?
PSAT here and it's
Yeah.
QT somewhere else.
okay, just,
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
yeah.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
No? Oh,
Actually, I have a question. Could you go back to the previous slide? That one, no, I think there was one where there was a big drop-off between, yeah. See, what's the explanation for the drop-off in number of students taking between? Is that just because we have somebody who was out out sick that day, or
Yeah, it could
show
be a
up.
number
or
of
they didn't show, or
reasons.
they moved out of the district, or something of that
This is
sort?
still matched, so it could be, if a student took a test once because he could have registered late after that date, was out sick. It could be a number of reasons.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
And this is the summary, basically, of the students that increased their scores in reading and in math. You can see the number of students, or percentage of students, I should say, that increased their scores in reading and math, and then the ones that increased 10 points, the ones that increased 20 points or more. Right? So grade 10. For the most part, they are steady. This is the match cohort.
That's the first one that went down, though, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great, 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the 10th grade, that's the only one that went down.
Okay.
The other ones, there was some growth. And then the same summary for grade 10, students who increased their scores, 44 and 52%, and then the ones that increased 10 scale score points, and the ones that increased 20 or more percent. 20 more points, I should say. Now, the 11th grade, we're not that happy with those scores as of right now. The data says that they went down, and you can see that in reading. And in math.
But they have a higher score, I mean, 11th grade for 413 than the previous one.
So, but that was the scores in the fall when they took
In
it.
the fall.
And then when they took it in the winter.
Oh, 398, okay.
It went down again.
11th grade is your shining star in this PSAT. Meaning shining star that they did not make any gains in 11th grade. In ELA. And in math also.
And I have some interesting findings. For example, there were kids that left blank items or sections, and I have some percentages for you, that omitted questions in the reading section. For instance, 5.3 questions were omitted. In writing, 4.4% of questions. The math without calculator, 25.7% of questions omitted, or the math with calculator, 32.7% omitted. We are trying to, we're meeting with students. We believe that the stamina for this test, it was not, they were not ready. This is what, we're happy actually that this happened now and not on the 21st. We're putting things in place. There was growth, but not what we expected. Also, we are having conversations with students to make sure that they understand that, how important this is for them in terms of, their career and college, because now even employers are asking for this test. We know that they understand that the March 21st is important.
Hold up, could just back up a second, just so we all understand?
Yes. I'm sorry.
So, when were the winter practice tests given again?
In February 13th.
Okay, and then the next one is March 21st?
March 21st.
21st.
Next
Yeah,
week.
okay, that's the real one?
That's the real
Yes.
one.
Yeah, okay. So what you're saying to us is you've been meeting with the students, trying to ascertain what the issue is?
Correct.
What the reason is why they left things unanswered?
Unanswered, yes.
And why they fell off, why the scores fell off.
Yes.
And
In the 11th grade.
Right, in the 11th grade only, right.
The
But
11th
yeah,
grade only.
But I know you're, new principal, although you've been in the system, but is this the first time we've seen this in 11th grade?
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
First time.
What happened 16, 17?
We took the practice, we took the PSAT, because this is a practice test.
Right.
We took the practice test last year. We took it twice, and we did see growth from the fall to the winters. And at the end of the year, this is very interesting. At the end of the year, the English ELA reading went up on the regular SAT 13% in the state. So we did pretty good on the PSAT in the state. This is an anomaly, definitely an anomaly. That happened. I think everybody's searching for an answer, particularly in 11th grade. Because you go back and take a look at the 9th grade, they did pretty well. There was growth in 9th grade. So it seemed like the 9th grade students took it very seriously.
And growth in 10th grade.
And growth in 10th grade, particularly in math, but not in ELA. So there's something, an anomaly that happened in 11th grade ELA and 11th grade math.
And I recognize that there's work to be done. We're doing that as we speak. We understand that this is the grade that counts. And it's next week, so we are taking action. We have been also, even before we got the scores, we have been doing some things. We restructured some classes at the semester. We have been still working with Dr. Bailey and aligning the English department to the SAT and social studies. We have a new platform that we are using, which is called Reading Plus. And they are doing nonfiction, text, etc. In science, also, we are focusing on the SAT aligned charts, tables, and charts. Graphs, I'm sorry. And Khan Academy, we're using not only in math, but also in core classes. Also, we're taking it a step further, and we are making adjustments to next year's schedule, so we can put supports in place since day one and not after the fact. And we are confident that the things that we're doing now, the foundation we're building now, is going to be helpful not only for 10 and 9, but the other grades as they rise.
Vanessa, you didn't mention our SAT Academy that we have on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
I was not SAT, Dr. Garcia was kind enough to,
The district was coming.
the district to support an SAT prep course that is running on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So, the supports are there. And we are confident that the foundations we're doing now, it's going to be successful and it's going to be great for the grades to come. 9 and 10, that is, as they rise. Yes.
Let's go back to the grade 11 math and match cohort, and the match cohort. I see the fall and the, I guess, winter score. They decreased 393 for the grade 11 math match cohort. 393, they came to 380. Yet, when we come to the grade 11 growth, to the chart that you have there, to the table, it says the number of students with increased score was 46%, 6%, and 38%. So how did we came from 393 to 380 if many students increased their scores?
They
The other ones decreased a little more than this one increased?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
So the ones that decreased really decreased,
Yeah.
right, if that's the average?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you focusing on ascertaining from those students that really plummeted more, the reasons? I mean,
Yes.
you can't, yeah, I mean,
33%.
Yeah, we're conferencing with them, to see what happened, the reasons, because only they know.
sometimes an anomaly is just an anomaly, too. But I think
I
it's
agree.
really important that you're looking at all the possibilities here.
Because last year this didn't happen. The year, it's first
Yeah,
time.
this is not the first time I get this step, like I said before, it didn't happen. I think we really need to have some serious conversation with students and with teachers in the 11th grade, in the 10th grade and the 9th grade. 9th grade did pretty well, but we need to have a conversation with teachers and with students in the 11th grade for them to understand that the 31st represent not only them, it represent the district, it represent their future. I mean, March 21st.
March 21st.
So what would you say is the issue with the 11th graders? What do you find the most,
So far.
so far, problem? And this is, I know that you don't, but just, is it lack of interest? Is it,
I think that they are very well aware that next week is the one that counts. I don't think they had it, we were not expecting this either. Like, we were not expecting, last year was very different, and each cohort is different. It's like kids, like, siblings, you shouldn't even compare them. But this is something that I don't think they were as invested maybe, because they knew it was not the test, but it's gonna hurt them, because right now everybody is, with a sense of urgency.
So I have a theory, right? It does a hypothesis.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a hypothesis.
Theory, hypothesis.
Yeah, there's a theory.
Thought.
This test was given on the Friday before the weekend that we have 2 days off, and the kids knew that it was a practice test. It was told to them a practice test. So if I am a 16-year-old and I want to go away for the weekend, I'm going to come in for half a day before I have a 4-day weekend for a practice test. My theory is that some of those kids just figure out that maybe that's not the day for them to come, and the ones that came didn't have any interest, and as you can see by the numbers, we have a lot of kids that miss also the day.
So distracted, and then some just maybe taking,
Yeah. So I think,
knowing their vacation, their one midwinter break
Vacation.
was coming.
so I think the day was not a good day to have it, and second, the way it was projected to them as a practice test. I mean, I'm just thinking about a teenager that has 16-year-old.
Yeah, but another question is, do the course grades, the grades during the regular semester or time, do they, when you comparing to the scores, are these kids that decrease are also failing in the regular courses?
Not necessarily.
No,
No,
I
they
wouldn't
don't
say that.
correlate to anything.
No.
These scores really do not reflect the students' achievement in the classroom.
No.
Across the country, United States.
That's-
You
that's
know
okay, well.
that classroom grades has no alignment
No.
to standardized assessment. That's not only here. This is across the country. We know that that classroom grades across the country has no bearing on standardized assessment.
Well, I'll tell you, my 10th grader said, oh, it's just a practice test.
Well, they know that the real one because it's all over the school. It's the 21st of March. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of the name, that may have been the case, but they know that the real one is March 21st, so.
So to sum it up, basically, we're feeling okay about the 9th and 10th grade
Yes.
tests. We're concerned about what happened in 11th grade. This district is doing its best to ascertain what happened and how we can keep that from happening in the future. And we have tests coming up next week,
Yep.
the real tests, and we're giving the students as much support as we can to do well there.
Yes.
And you'll come back to us after we find out what happens on March 21st, and there may be more of a puzzle to try to fit together, or we may see some change,
Right.
hopefully for the better.
Hopefully for the better.
Does that make sense
Yeah.
to
Yes.
folks? That's
Just
sort of,
last question,
yeah.
referring to Dr. Garcia's theory or something. Who scheduled these tests? The state or we schedule those tests?
Which one?
The one that you
practice
said that,
ones,
you know, that
Practice?
they, the practice test.
Well, the
They-
practice test was rescheduled twice because of the snow.
But who do we schedule them?
The district, the one that we took in February, we scheduled it, but we had to reschedule it twice because
of snow.
Yeah, and why would they schedule them before a long weekend?
That's
a different thing.
That's one of the learning experiences.
No.
We're
That's
what we're
Jerry.
learning.
That's what I'm learning. That's what I said. Giving a
I'm
I'm
test.
only referring to your theory, okay?
Yeah, well, giving your test. I said that my father said there's nothing that can compete with experience and with the older you
Okay.
are. 2 days before on a Friday.
All right,
Okay, so we'll find out more.
more
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
I guess the high school learned a lesson from that. I can assure you that. The high school administrative team. They will never have another PSAT on a Friday, 2 days before.
Long week.
A long weekend, exactly. They will never do it again, I can assure you that.
Any further questions? We appreciate you coming in tonight and
Thank you for your
and
time.
sharing
Thank
what
you
you're
very
doing
much.
to try to
Thank
get to
you.
the bottom of this. Good luck.
Thank you.
We want to thank Mr. Conway and Mrs.
We
Conway.
look forward to the next
Chapter,
Chapter of the PSAT scores.
the real test, after the real test.
Mr. Conway, they worked very hard.
Well, it was pointed out that it was the team of the three of you that have been working very hard on this, and we want to recognize your colleagues. Thank you.
We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. And you don't have to feel like you have to stay for the rest of the meeting. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
Parent and Community University.
Yeah, there is some information in your packet regarding our next Parent and Community University that will take place on April 7th at the middle school. As you know, this has been an initiative in the district for the last 3 years, something that we're very proud of, because it gave us the opportunity to really educate our parents on topics that are very, very important to them. It's also important to see how Parent and Community University has changed for the better over the years, has gotten much, much larger, topics much more relevant to parents, and more importantly, that now we have our own parent advisory group for Parent University. That is the one that make the decision about what is important, so we're very happy about that. So we invite all of you board members, and there's some flyers there on the April 7th, but also Parent University has expanded that every month we have a workshop in the community, in different part of the community, and the workshop on March 21st would be in Bowling, and that will be also in the Heights. And so we're very proud of that. Not only we have these two big ones, but every month there is something in different parts of the community that is sponsored to Parent University. And this one will be Bowling, and it will take place in the Heights. And last PCU, Ms. Lynn, I was there, and we invite you to please come back.
I encourage board members to pop in if they can't even stay for the whole day, just to stay for part of the day and It's a great opportunity to get to talk to the parents.
Well, I'm on the committee, so I'll be there.
To the committee.
When is this day scheduled?
It's April the 7th,
For Saturday.
for Saturday, yeah.
So,
Another announcement that we are very proud of is another partnership that we have with Eastern as we continue to expand our opportunities, our college opportunity for our high school students next year in September. We will establish a new partnership with Eastern where we'll be offering 3 more college courses through Eastern. We'll offer a math course, Math for Liberal Arts, through Eastern. We'll also offer a foundation course in education for anyone in the high school that is considering to enter the field of teaching. So this course would be one that transfers directly into teaching, Foundation of U.S. Education. And also we offer Introduction to Health Sciences. So we decided to partner with them and offer something in health and science, something in math, and something in education. So these are 3 new courses that will be offered through Eastern here in our campus here at the high school.
And starting when?
August of 2018. And then we have another course that is not through Eastern, but we wanted you to know is a high school course, Body Transformation, Mindfulness, and Yoga. So that will be offered in our course of study, but it's not through Eastern, but it's a new high school course.
In this world we're living in and our kids are growing up in, that sounds like a very good thing for people to have in their toolbox.
I think so. I think so. First, when I look at the name, I said, but I think it's a very, very good course.
Okay,
So then we have the walkout. I want to say walkout, but that was not exactly what took place. I do want to commend the high school and the other 2 school barrows and the STEM Academy. In our community safety forum that took place last week, we mentioned that students will be walking out to show their civic responsibility of civic citizens and compassion and support for what took place in Parkland. But due to the weather, they decided to change plans, and they were very adaptive, and each school had some type of assembly inside in their school. The middle school had one. I went to the middle school today. There were one at the high school and one at Barrows. And we're kids for 17 minutes were silent and read something about the students of Parkland. So we want to congratulate our students for the organization and the respectful manner in that this will conduct it today.
can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Was there any pushback from any students about doing this?
I don't know, maybe Vanessa can say, the middle school didn't have that one, I didn't hear one thing about it, the middle school.
Great.
Well, unfortunately, social media is not very kind, and some of the parents were complaining about the walk-in. They were looking forward to their students having the walkout, although they knew it was the weather that played a part in the walk-in.
So they wanted a walkout? Okay. Well, the students organized this.
Yeah.
The
So
students,
they could tell their parents when they get home.
and they organized it, and they organized the walkout, and then they organized the walk-in. And so it was their decision. The only requirement from the school was it need to be in a respectful manner and a safe manner, and students follow those guidelines. Okay. Something that I mentioned before, and I just want to bring it, and Mr. Alvy Harris and I will be working very closely in this. We want to conduct a security audit of all our schools, not only the physical structure of our buildings, but also of our policies and procedures and protocols. And we've been looking for agency that can help us with this. We already identified a state agency that can help us, and we also been told that the state troopers can help us with this, and we will just look at some other agency, but we do want to get some more information. I think it's very pertinent about different protocols, policies, procedures, and the structure of building in order to enhance our safety and security. So I'm not going to spend much time about that.
What's the state agency that might do it?
Well,
Might help.
the State Department of Education have a section that come down and do some audits in buildings. The question is that they have, it's only like a 3-person department, so
They have a lot of requests.
they have a lot of requests in a 2 or 3-person department, so you take your pick there when will they come. Okay. For some reason, I already mentioned the high school program and study. I went a little ahead of that. The advisory group, something that we are very proud of in the district, and something that I am very proud of, Superintendent, is the opportunity to hear from our stakeholders, the opportunity to listen to them, and the opportunity to get their feedbacks and their concern. And this, it's something that I'm very proud of. So we have a parent advisory group. We have a community advisory group, and the community advisory group is a little different. These are members of the community business leader. Margaret has done a pretty good job getting business owners in the community to be part of this group. Then we have the teacher advisory group, and we have the new teacher advisory group. So if you're a new teacher in the district, you get to meet with me also 3 times a year to talk about how is your journey and when you start here. And then we have the district SGC, and then we have the students advisory group. The middle school advisory group is always much more vocal than the high school advisory group. They have good things to say, but we've been meeting with the Ollie's advisory group lately and getting some very good information from them and some very good feedback. For example, the parents said they commend the communication from school, so we'd like to hear that. The SGC said they are planning to support the budget. And teachers expressed a lot of satisfaction with support in their schools. An area that they would like to have more support, however, is the area of behavior management with students. So we're working in that area. This is really good news for us, really good news for the district. I don't know if you have the opportunity to hear about Relay Graduate School of Education. That is an alternate road to certification. I'm pretty sure Dr. Gomez heard about them in the past as former dean. I don't know, I'm not asking for your opinion, but I know that traditional universities don't think very highly about graduate Relay. It's an alternative program to certification, alternate program. So they are in Connecticut. They've been certified in Connecticut. They've been authorized in Connecticut. This year, starting in August, they have 85 spots are opening where they were working with teachers in Connecticut that want to become teachers. These are for non-certified. So these are for paras and tutors that have a degree. And so they will go through the non-traditional program. They're offering 3 spots to Windham Public School.
Okay.
And of course, Hartford gets to have 12 or 15 in other district. We have accepted those 3 spots already on behalf of the district. And we're having a session where everybody's invited tomorrow from 3:30 to 5. They're coming in to explain to the candidates what is involved, et cetera, et cetera. But we are, this is designed to accommodate the demands of schedule of the working force. So someone that is working that want to become a teacher, that have the interest of becoming a teacher, that does not have the fun all the time to do that. Because there's a commitment on the part of the school district once they commit to this. I can assure that all Alliance districts that are part of this are very committed to this, and we're very happy that we'll have the opportunity to offer to our paras and tutors.
Do you know the areas in which one those students
Shortage areas. Shortage areas. So for us would be special ed, math, bilingual education. What is your Arlene?
You hit it. Those are all
Bilingual education, math, and special ed would be shortage area.
quite interesting.
And we have quite of interest. So I'll be there tomorrow at 3:30 to meet them. And it's very, I would say the cost is minimum. It's minimum. It's $6,000 per candidate for the 2 years.
So will the district make a decision about what 3 people are chosen? They have to apply?
They have to apply. So Relay is coming tomorrow to talk to them about what are the qualifications, what needs to be done. And so we want to wait to see what happens, because maybe after they put out the qualification, we have less people that are interested.
Right.
So once we look at that, then we will look at, we'll have to have some type of process for people to be selected.
So it would be us deciding who went from our district?
Yes.
Not Relay?
Not Relay, no.
Okay.
We are deciding.
Okay.
We are deciding. We are the one that picked the candidates, not them.
Well, I'm excited to hear about this
Oh,
because
yes.
I actually think one of our big issues is retention, and we've talked about this a little before, that we have a better chance of retaining people who have worked in this district over time or come from the community and are staying already live in the community are staying here. So I think it's a good investment
And,
for
you know,
us to try.
And they're all over the country, and they've been very, very successful. And it's not a college program, meaning that this will not transfer to a master program. But these are for people that want to be in teaching and already have a degree in teaching. And it's an alternate route to certification. So they are accepted in the state of Connecticut.
So I guess they're approved by the State Department of Education.
Oh,
right?
definitely, they are approved. This is really Connecticut, approved in the state of Connecticut.
Okay.
Yes, approved. Approved by the
Good.
State Board of Education.
Now, how were these three candidates chosen?
You know, we've been discussing the process. We don't have anything written down and set in stone about the process. We first wanted to go and hear from the candidate themselves and from Relay. And once we hear from them tomorrow, we'll come back. And we want to look at some other district, like we talked to East Hartford and see how they're doing, and Hartford and see what process they're putting in place. The superintendent in East Hartford have 12 people that are going to through the process. So I will be calling in the superintendent there to say, okay, how did you develop your process for selection? And then turn it over to Geraldine and HR, and then we move from there. So we'll get back to you guys with the process and how to select.
Okay.
So that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, any questions? Okay, well, a lot going on. Well, we have a sparse representation of the board here, but is anybody on any of these committees, does anybody want to say anything, report anything? Finance, Jaime, anything you want to report?
No, no, Chair, we haven't met, or I haven't been able to be at
Okay.
the meeting. But I think that we haven't had any in council because of
No, we haven't
the
had
budget issues.
School planning and design, there's nobody here who's on that committee, although it is worth saying that the high school committee, building committee has been designated by the town council. That has been reported in the media. There are 9 members of that. 2 of them are non-voting alternates, but 9 members on that. And I'm going to look into seeing when they're going to start meeting, because we need to get going on that. As Ms. Lambert said to me earlier, we have 2 years to get shovels in the ground, and we've used up 1/6 of that time already. So I think we'll be pushing. I will say, as the chair of the board, I'll be pushing to get the town to get going on this.
So
Now that-
have
now-
they been selected? Do we
Yeah,
have names?
they they gave the names out last week. They
Last week,
chose,
yeah.
and there are 2 board members on that. 2 Board of Ed members on that. One is Paul Kalajian, and the other one is Tracy Lambert, but she is an alternate, not a voting member. She's an alternate, like being an understudy. But at least we have 2 people who know this project well on. So that will get going. That's a little off topic, but Policy Committee has some recommendations for us. One recommendation for us tonight, but we won't be able to take it up. We'll have to wait till the April 7th meeting, correct?
Correct.
And Executive Committee, we're still working with the superintendent on the criteria for her evaluation, and there have been several board members participating in those discussions, and that's the big topic that we've been working on there, correct? Yes. And then I'm just going to use my prerogative as chair to let people know that on Monday evening this week, the Democratic Town Committee nominated a replacement for the empty seat on the Board of Ed. Ms. Suzanne Tirado is the person who has been chosen by the Democrats to fill the Democratic empty seat. The next step in that will be that the next town council meeting, we're hoping that they will vote to approve her, and then we'll be able to swear her in, and we'll have a full complement of Board of Ed members, which will be good. As you can see, we need to have a full complement. so that we don't lack quorums when we have meetings, so. Any questions on that from the rest of the board?
Nada.
Okay, so we have some items here, and the only one that really is an issue is that by town charter, we are required to hand off our Board of Ed budget to the town Board of Finance by tomorrow, I believe. And so we don't have a quorum to vote on that. So I'd like to ask my fellow board members if you'll join with me in approving the superintendent handing off the budget as we have discussed at our budget workshops and as was presented to us last week. And we just hand that off to the town Board of Finance by the deadline tomorrow.
But-
Is that fine with folks?
No, no, I mean,
Well,
I'm
we
wondering-
can't vote on anything.
Yeah, but
That's
will we
fine.
be in compliance if we do that? I mean,
We just have to give it to them. It doesn't say in the charter.
Approved.
It doesn't say a board-approved budget.
oh, okay.
No, the title is generic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, we have to give them the budget, right?
yes,
Right.
Okay.
So we have to give them the budget, so,
and then formalize the vote.
right, we can formalize a full vote on April 21st, next week. We have a workshop scheduled. March 21st, next week. We have a workshop scheduled, but we could have one action item on that agenda, assuming we have a quorum, and we could approve it. Does that make sense to my fellow board members?
Yes.
Any objections to that?
No.
Okay, so we are asking you formally to do that,
Tomorrow
Dr.
morning.
Garcia.
Tomorrow morning, I will follow the directive of the board.
And then the Board of Finance has asked us to give them some dates in April that we can be available to go present our budget to them. So after today's meeting, we should communicate with the Chair of the Board of Finance, and they will arrange to have us come in at a date in April to present the budget to them.
Janet and I were looking at their schedule, at their,
They meet the first and third Wednesday of the month
they meet the
usually.
first,
No, the third.
Just the third.
those the third, he said.
The town council is the first and the third. The Board of Finance only meets.
Oh, that's
once.
at the third, right,
Yeah,
only the third.
once, so it's next.
But they're having more meetings. I was told by them on Monday evening that they're going to be, next week when they meet, they're going to be scheduling out their budget meetings for the month of April to meet their deadlines.
Okay.
So if we could give them some dates in early April that were available, they will check their calendars and let us know what works.
They meet what, Wednesdays, Wednesday?
They could
Third
meet
Wednesday.
Third.
the third Wednesday, but that's too late.
So, truly, so I was thinking, what about if we suggest to them, if we may offer Wednesday, the 4th of April? That will give them some time, because they don't meet till the 19th again,
Right, right.
okay? And we meet the following Wednesday. So I will suggest that maybe, if I may offer, that maybe April the 4th would be a good date for us to present to them.
Okay, I will suggest that to them.
Yeah.
I will send an email to the chair and our liaison, Tyler, and they're the ones that wanted us, Tom and Tyler wanted us to give them some dates, so,
Yeah. Because they're not meeting again until the 18th.
right.
And so
Right.
they have 2 weeks after our presentation to present, to ask any question and to approve it the following.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Because I was looking at that, so. hopefully-
But I will say, the Board of Finance meets more right this time of year, so, yeah, as you well know. So we'll hand off the budget tomorrow, as is, and we will have a formal vote on it next Wednesday, the 21st, at our workshop meeting.
I know what I was gonna-
Anything else? We can't take action on anything. Anything else? Okay, any public comment? Okay, with that being said, then we will be adjourning at 7:52.
Ooh, that's the earliest.
All those in favor?
Hi.
This is called effective meetings. Effective.
Yes,
meetings.
very effective. Well,